we are going to sing and we are going to dance. Because when one is joyous, when one feels a sense of well-being, your heart sings. And I invite each and every one of you, Madonna style, show a wave of hands. Enough. Pranam, namaskar, hello, good morning. I'm going to, as is customary in my country, acknowledge and thank all the lineage teachers, all our gurus, many of whom are sitting over here today. So many of us have learned so much from each one of them. And I'm sure there are many professors and teachers here, may not be my teachers and professors, but I acknowledge each one of them. Just because whatever we learn comes from this wonderful fountain of wisdom. But there's also a disclaimer here in perhaps the Western style, but don't forget this is something that comes from ancient India. We stand here with humility,
Yes.
and whatever we present is not reflective of our teachers. If there are any mistakes, they're mine, and I acknowledge them right here. And where's Hannah? Our time starts now.
It's like I don't when you think about it.
So Neha and I are here, and as all humans do, we're all storytellers. So we're here to tell you a story. The story of Sea Learning India, also known as the Karuna practice. What we want to talk about today is really enduring change, the art of scaling deep. And as we know, time is not linear. It is circular and it is a continuum. So we're going to continue from where Dan Goldman and the panel left us last evening, when he talked about scaling wide and scaling deep. We're going to talk about what does scaling deep look like? What does investment in Sea Learning in CBCT look like in an organization, in a set of schools, in a network of schools?
Yeah. And I have to admit that given the fact that we are in the Indian context, given that we are the largest populated country in the world, we faced a dilemma. Reshma, do you want to tell them about the dilemma?
And the dilemma is really, we talk about reach, and I think it's a very, very important aspect. Dispersing seeds is very crucial. But dispersing seeds that germinate, that grow into shrubs, and that eventually grow into tall and sturdy trees, that's really where we're looking at seeing the kind of change we hope that our work and the work of so many here and the vision of so many here will bear fruit.
Yeah.
I think one of the important things that, as Neha said, and I'm just going to very quickly share with you a certain context so that the real star can take over, because as you remember, and there's always an opening act. I'm the opening act, getting you all excited before the real meat is presented by Neha. I think one of the important things is the work of many, many individuals, and one person, Tatiana Fraser, who really shifted and perhaps reinforced for us our understanding that lasting change is about shifting culture. It's about shifting relationships, but more importantly, it's about shifting narratives. And what we want to present to you is just a snapshot, a jhalak, a glimpse, a trailer into one such, perhaps I would say, be a beacon for us. They're among many various different schools and networks we work with, but specifically zoning in and presenting to you what it means when an organization really restructures the way in which it works, the way in which it tells its story, but more importantly, how that culture transforms and touches the lives of so many, not just students, teachers, but so many others. If you can go to the next slide, I think I'm going to hand over to Neha here to talk a little bit more about the meat of this. But important for us to remember And I think someone used this a metaphor yesterday. I love metaphors. It was about, I think it was Karthik. We talked about a forest. And I think I used the agricultural metaphor about a seed. We want to create a grove of trees. Because if you remember, the idea is to transcend the I. It's about the us. And when a tree grows and it becomes a grove, its roots go very deep and they go very wide. So they make sure that they share with the entire set of trees in that grove knowledge about where the water is, knowledge on how to fight disease. And our idea really here is to present such a grove where knowledge is shared, not just kept within the organization or within the network of schools, but a wonderful example of what it means to have made that shift in change, but then to have shared with the neighboring municipal commission and municipal schools and 150 schools that ended up being beneficiaries of learnings within the school. So I'm going to hand over to Neha to give us a little bit more meat into what I presented as an introduction.
Thank you, Reshma. That's a tall order to follow with the lovely storytelling that Reshma does. But I just want to say that, as she mentioned, also dances, you see. So the interesting part, and since we were inspired by the work of Tatiana Fraser and the art of scaling deep, we understood that if we want to create a change within a system, the whole system needs to change and the whole system needs to align. It's not about just training educators. So here's an example. And as Reshma mentioned, we have several other network partners, but this is an example of one of the network partners where they did the entire restructuring, which helped them integrate social, emotional, ethical learning and cognitively based compassion training within all the schools that the network operates in this case, 20 schools. So they put a well-being lead. So they hired a new person to become a well-being lead. They trained 30 level 1 facilitators within the network schools. They brought in 28 counselors. They have senior master facilitators, junior master facilitators. Imagine they created all of these positions to support the social worker and the educator in the classroom so that change can happen at a systemic level within the network. What is interesting is that they work in 374 classrooms impacting 15,000 students. And the best part is that they worked directly with 30,000 parents, engaging them not only for children in the classroom, but calling the parents and asking them to attend workshops 3 times through the year. Every touch point they make, they understand what their children are going through and pick up skills for themselves so that social, emotional, ethical learning and CBCT doesn't become just for the educator or the child, but it is about the family and the ecosystem that surrounds the child. So with that, we've done a study with them and we've seen how resilient and happy educators and multi-stakeholder engagement along with parents. And if you see the last one, which is my favorite, is slowly how students start to lead practices in the classroom, and you no longer have that boundary between educator leading the student. It is co-led by anyone in the classroom. And finally, some of the outcomes that we saw were increase in empathy and compassion. We can talk more about that, but because we have only 4 minutes, we'll give you a headline. And decrease in conflicts. This is very interesting because the schools that we work with have a lot of multi-faith individuals, especially in the Indian context. There is a caste dynamic, there is a class dynamic, all of that. And in the schools that we operate in, if we see reduction in conflicts, that's a great success parameter for us. We've, of course, also seen personal growth for educators, and they have reported that. And, of course, improved attitude towards social emotional learning. And one thing I want to say is that in India, we often refer to social emotional ethical learning as the plate and not one of the things on the plate, because we want to make sure that C-learning and CBCT become the real offering and not just as one of the added offerings in a classroom or a school. And with that, the biggest validation that came for us last year, because one is always questioning one's own strategy on whether we're doing right. Oh, there are so many more getting left out. Are we going deep enough? Are we going wide enough? But the biggest validation came for us when our program or our work was featured in the Economic Survey of India, where we were mentioned as the top 3 programs on social, emotional, ethical learning to build life skill focused learning in a school ecosystem. With that, I just want to say that we deeply, deeply believe in scaling deep so that we can scale out. It is not about just scaling out, as Reshma said, dispersing seeds. It's also about scaling deep and making sure we create the soil for scaling up and scaling wide or scaling out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.